So this genome was already here. And so when the Lyrians placed their DNA on this planet, I've always seen when they did that, they put it in the apes. They were like, okay, well, we can't just take our DNA and just throw it in the ground. It's like we take the DNA and we put it in something that will hold it.
So with all of that, how do you feel, and what would you do to explain to somebody who has fear around the 3-eye atlas thing? Firstly, the big question that most people ask firstly is, what is it? So from your perspective, from your knowledge, from what you for the connection that you have with the galactic realms, could you explain that to them?
So for all of you guys, I actually don't know what 3-eye atlas is, but what I do know for sure is that there are ships coming in to make an announcement. And so it would make sense if it was 3-eye atlas, but I'll let you guys know what I know to be true. So 3-eye atlas as well, I've asked questions about it, but I've never got a clear answer from the ETs because it's also supposed to be a surprise. But what I was told is that, look, this is just preparing humans for what we're about to do because the ships are coming in. And so to warm up people's minds, I actually watched a video this morning where these people were talking about 3-eye atlas that don't even talk about ET stuff usually. And some people were in the comments being like, yo, every time I'm looking at news panels that are talking about ET or talking about Atlantis, they mention aliens and reptilians and like star people. And it's because they're trying to warm up the masses for exactly this. Now, when it comes to people and the whole agenda with 3-eye atlas, look, it could be a buildup for a psyop that the government wants to do, but it's never going to work. They're going to try and say, you know, they're negative and all of this stuff, but it's not going to work. This is also still part of the divine plan. Remember, everything that's happening on Earth has been allowed to happen for a reason. And people may be upset because they're like, why would ETs allow this? Why would the divine allow this? But you say that, but then you go through certain situations in your life that may be negative. Say you're bullied a lot. And then you grow up and then you're like, damn, I'm glad I got damn bullied. Or else I wouldn't be this strong to be able to do what I do in my life. It's the same thing. And the divine has allowed for Earth to be this library and go through the process of merging with galactic history and repeating it here, and then have these beings, which is a mix of everybody, come out there. It's all a big, amazing, not just experiment, but plan. And consider all humans like the Anunnaki, where they're a mix of all this DNA and now what they are considered to the beings in the galaxy. It's the same thing. So know that, yes, the people in power here that were allowed to be in power, like the Bible says, the devil's allowed to rule over the planet for a certain amount of time before I come back in. This is what's happening. So everything that's been happening now has been allowed to happen, and the powers, the negative powers, have lost their power, and now it's exiting. So now we're seeing that divine power come in and divine energy come in and lead. So we're seeing karma. People call it karma and dharma. Yes, that's laying out real fast. But it's like, imagine when you see the end of a movie when the arc nemesis character is losing. They ain't losing and being like, oh yeah, I'm all right, I'm gonna leave, peace out. No, they're gonna be clawing on the ground, seeing what they could do next, trying to go in. That's what the government's trying to do, y'all. So, okay, listen to what they're saying. So they're trying to tell you about extraterrestrials, but don't be like, oh, it's just a distract from this and that. Okay, part of it, yeah, is a distract. I wouldn't be surprised if they expose ETs to get away from the Epstein files and all that stuff. But just because it's being used as that does not mean that what they're mentioning about ETs and the whole extraterrestrial stuff is wrong, because it is true. ETs are here and all this. I mean, if you're here, you know this. But you're going to hear people always trying to say, oh, they're trying to use ETs for this, and it's not, to say that it's not real, when they're right, it's being used as a distraction, but it is still real what they're trying to expose to the people.
the truth in the lie, the same thing they've been doing with anything that they've ever fed us, ever.
Well, talking about truth, I heard you mention dinosaurs, and talking about lie, we know that dragon existed. Is it possible, according to what you know, that what we call dinosaurs are just the era of dragons?
Yeah, the dragons are big protectors and guides for every being in the universe. I would say they are the most ancient beings, I would say. And so there were dragons on Earth, but they were too, for lack of a better term, it's like they were too powerful. They were too powerful to be on Earth physically, so that you'll never see them on Earth physically. They're definitely here energetically, and a lot of different humans been known about this. And then when you want to tie it with the dinosaurs are related to the dragons. I mean, I guess you could say we're all, but they're more closely related to the dragons. And there were dragon-like dinosaurs here, or beings that were branching onto dragon-like creatures. I want to say the most realistic ones were like in Game of Thrones, with the dragons in Game of Thrones. Those were so realistic, I was surprised. And those are ones that you would see during the dinosaur times. But during the dinosaur times, it's like they were eradicated. This is even going deeper into that part of history. It's like they were eradicated and they allowed the dinosaurs to do their thing. And then intelligent dinosaurs, some before the extinction went underground, which is where you see them now. So they still live on Earth. They still see Earth as home. I'm telling y'all, reality is stranger than fiction. And I'll never tell you guys stuff that I just read. I'm like, if I read it, I'm going to go in the Astral and find out. Or I don't even want to read nothing. I just want to go talk to the ETs and find out. And all of this is what they've been telling me. And it makes so much sense. What they've shown me, it makes so much sense. I'm looking forward to be able to express all of this wisdom to all of humanity when it's time.
So then, in regards to the dinosaurs, so what is the fascination about? Because it's kind of like one thing they teach you when you go to school, all different kind of dinosaurs and stuff like that, and we don't have any way to check it if he even really existed. I mean, you can always make a replica of a bone structure. You can do these things are possible to be done, and I'm not implying that's what happened. All I'm saying is that it's kind of like an era where we've been told that they've been through an extinction. They've been extinct by something, more or less volcano coming from space, whatever the narrative that we've been fed. But at the same time, are they native to Earth, or were they brought here originally?
Just like the human genome, they were brought here. So that was the draconian genome. They were like, let's bring the draconian genome here and do its thing. And from there were intelligent reptilians or reptoids. And there was ET facilities and stuff. Reminds me of Jurassic World, like Jurassic Park. Like it was like there were a lot of facilities and stuff going on. They said, okay, let's cleanse it. I know that it was cleansed. I don't know who did it, but I know that it was cleansed in order to bring about the human genome and then do the human experiment. And so the dinosaurs and the intelligent reptoids that were here and are here are native to Earth. And many people would call them aliens or extraterrestrials too. You can't even call them that. You want to call them terrestrials. They're just like us. They share this planet, just like the fairies and the merfolk share this planet with us. But they had to go in hiding in order to allow the Earth experiment to continue to do what it's got to do. And of course, that's ending. So then they're all going to come and be exposed. I don't know if even the giants are going to come. Many of the giants are staying beyond the ice wall, which is just blocking off the other continents on this planetary sphere. So many of them are going to stay over there, okay? But there is so much of this, like, this is our home. This is our home too. And humans need to be aware that this ain't just your planet. Yes, it is, but this is our planet too.
So
that's what I wanted to touch on.
well, just
Beyond
before we move on, to the ice wall, beyond the ice wall. Okay, so what you're saying, just for the sake of someone that wants to know more about it, because you mentioned that we here, planet Earth is like the library planet where a lot of experiment took place and etc. It's a bit like cats, tigers, lions that you have here would be a reminder of the Lyran DNA, I guess, that's been kind of put there. And would you say that the animals were the first experiment before they tried the human experiment? Would you say that's what took place?
Yeah, animals were also. I like how the ETs in human translation call them smaller versions of themselves, or you could say their ancestors, however you want to say. But it's their original blueprint put on this planet. And I'm kind of doing my face on this because I'm like, is that what I want to call it? It's more of like their primitive version that they put on the planet to just store their DNA. Even like mosquitoes and all these different bugs, there's ETs that are that version out there. And I know some of y'all have seen like big ass like mosquito beings and stuff. I just got like a vision of it. And it's like, they literally, this is true. And so all these other beings were like, I want to play a part in the experiment. Do I put my DNA in the humans, or do I just put our smaller versions of ourselves on there and it create like this whole biosphere? But it's funny because they've done this with Gaia. It was like permission from Gaia to do this. And so there were, just like how us as Lyrans came and more, Gaia was like, leave some of your DNA here. The other beings came here and Gaia was like, leave some of your DNA here as well, so I could do my thing. And so there is all the animals you see, all the insects you see are descendants of beings as well who wanted to play a role here.
Well, now I'll go to final question regarding to
Two?
the DNA. Yeah. No, but regarding to what we're talking about now, you know. Okay, so let me think about what I want to ask you. All right, the ape race. Yeah. So originally, if that's the case, they try an experiment and potentially everything is from another place in the universe. Yeah. Where is it from? What relation? Because, you taught at school that first the ape and then the human, but
right,
we know it's a bit different.
So when it comes to the apes, that's actually a really good question. From what I've always seen is that the apes were already here. And it's like it's like, I don't think it looked like the apes that we see now. They were a lot different. And then we see the different hominid apes that you see. People talk about the different hominids that were around the planet too. So this genome was already here. And so when the Lyrans placed their DNA on this planet, I've always seen when they did that, they put it in the apes. They were like, okay, well, we can't just take our DNA and just throw it in the ground. It's like we take the DNA and we put it in something that will hold it, and which was the apes. And then those apes evolve, and then those apes it's like the human DNA. So people be like, is it evolution? Is it panspermia? It's both, actually. And so that ape DNA was there and was already originally present. And then you hear the story of, mixing the DNA of the gods and what was here. And you hear that in the Bible and different forms and all these different scriptures. It is telling that story of these other beings coming in and placing their DNA within these hominids that were already here.
So, my second question about this was, and you kind of answered it, where was there a stage where Gaia was kind of like a blank planet, there was nothing there, or ever, or then there was all these, like Gaia kind of created on its own, all these native species. Then the extraterrestrial being came there, and with Gaia's permission, they started operating and doing their thing. But the stage where that actually took place.
Yes, so there was some actually beings that originally come from Earth and that are in the stars now. And they look kind of cool, but they originate from Earth as well. And I thought this was really cool, is that everything almost originates from clay. It's like clay has, like, I've seen when they showed it to me, they were like the small microbes started coming together with this evolution and creating, and that's Gaia trying to create something. And then from there, before I go forward, I always want to say every form of evolution has an intelligent energy behind it, which is usually the planetary consciousness, guiding how physicality moves. And so these different sort of microbes that are coming together, building something and using the earth. So literally using clay, using these different things to form something. And then with the help of ETs putting DNA here, it just sped up the process. So then it could go a little quicker. And so I always cut like a tree, and it's like, this is us, but there was all these other beings that were here that you don't see. And it's because they either bounced or they're hidden or something like that. But there was, so to your question, yeah, there was sort of original, starting from blank and then building up over millions of years into something. And then it's like exponential. It's like it started really slow. And then with the ET's help, it just like everything just went super quickly.
So I guess it was a sort of contract between Gaia and all these ETs.
Because it's also related to some sort of it's definitely linked with the consciousness of the galaxy. It's like the galaxy also has a consciousness and it has a plan for everything. And then the universe is a being in itself too. So it always gets bigger and there's always a higher consciousness. I like bringing up Pandora because they mentioned Awa. And Awa is just that planetary consciousness, just like Gaia, planetary consciousness. And then you go off and then there's other greater consciousnesses and they all play a role in what's happening divinely. It's almost hard to even fathom because it's not like a person being like, oh, let's do this, we're going to do that. It's a greater being that has great understanding and is sewn into everything and knows exactly what it's doing.
Well, now that lets me open the door to the whole Gaia story. So, behind the ice wall, which is where the extraterrestrial situation is. It's all this extra earth. It's all this extra terrain that we haven't yet explored in our basic educations. How would you begin to explain what that even is to those of us who've only been exposed to the official story of what this Earth plane looks like as far as the number of continents are concerned?
The map has been shrunken for people for a reason, to keep the experiment in a certain sort of dome. And some people would like to say that the Earth is flat. It's not. It's just that there's more. I don't know fully how it kind of works, but what I do know is that when I went to go look and see if there's other continents, there definitely is. I didn't believe it at first. I was like, nah, that's not a thing. And then when I went, I was like, whoa. Like, I was actually mind blown for a few days because I always just thought that was stories. And so then I had to get all this different briefings from ETs about how this works. Like, what is this? Now, there is an inner Earth, and there is continents in which are actually, many people in history have always called them parallel versions of Earth, or like different magical realms of Earth, which are actually told in stories on Disney and on Netflix. You hear about Narnia, that's a real continent, by the way, is Narnia. So cool. Hogwarts is just like a magic school. Beyond the Wall, Neverland, Hyrule, Tamriel, these like video game type worlds. And if you look it up, they'll be like, oh, Skyrim is from Tamriel, which is like a magical world on Earth and stuff like that. So they tell you these stories that are based on reality, but give it to you in a fictional standpoint, of course, as usual. And I find that cool because these stories are telling you real world places and stories. So you hear about Narnia, that's telling a real story of what happened, of what happened with real kids. You hear about you watch Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water. That's a real place, and there actually is a real Pandoran continent on Earth too, which is still kind of wild in my eyes. It's all part of the great Earth experiment to have everything from everywhere here. Which just even just saying that right now, I get it, my heart gets excited. I'm like, wow, this thing is the most amazing experiment ever. Y'all have everything here, and there's still so many continents that haven't explored fully. Like there is like Mario and Super Mario and all of that's based on a real place. These characters you hear in there are real characters. It's all depicting real stuff within a story mode for you. And many people actually go there when they're playing, like when they're playing the video game and they're immersed in it. Really, they're basically partially astral traveling there. Some of them are really there. So they get really immersed because they really is there. That part still is one of the coolest parts to me. Is like, I'm like, people be astral traveling there and going there without fully knowing that's what they doing. But they just in the little video game playing around in another world in their imagination. It's so cool.
That is fantastic to hear, because literally someone in the Soul Tribe was saying that they had an out-of-body experience and they literally dreamt they was somewhere that was like Minecraft. It was that world. It was like, she was just like, it was that world. And I was like, that wasn't a dream.
Bruh,
and now you're saying this, it's that confirmation that you're probably beyond the ice wall. That's beautiful for people. That really is. That really, really is.
So now you saying the ice wall, then I'm saying the treaty. Can we physically go there? And do you think, according to you, there is probably places on Earth like the Bermuda Triangle where these are actual portal to physically go there? Because, I mean, I know we can, actual travel there and we can see these places, but it seems to me that we've been limited so far. Do you think there's a way that maybe we could physically go there?
Definitely. And there has been some, you hear about the stories of people who have like Admiral Byrd, who went within the Earth and stuff like that. And some people are like, yo, we've been to another realm, but no one believes us. It's all going beyond the ice wall. And I'm glad you brought Bermuda Triangle. That's one of the biggest portals. There's one there. There's one in there's this many in the Arctic areas, many in the Pacific, and many of them I can't get specific on where they at, because that is every time I go talk about it, they're like, it's like that's very classified. But for you guys who have access to this information, whether you know it or not, you could check it out. These portals really are there, and some of them look like big whirlpools. And you go in, and then you go somewhere, and you're like, whoa, where am I? And you're just beyond the ice wall, or you're in another realm that is part of the Earth system, but not physically on Earth. That kind of was a little bit hard for my mind to wrap around, because it's like, wait, this is in the Earth system, but it's not physically on the planet. So, and that's where I just call it another realm, because it's another pocket of space and time that's connected to this pocket of space and time. So I will say, yes, there's many that we could physically go to. It reminds me of Game of Thrones, because the Game of Thrones continent, Westeros, is a real continent beyond the wall. And there's ancient humans that have had wars there and all that stuff. So you watch Game of Thrones, you're like, this is a real ass place. And so to see that as well, and to see the people that live there and call it home, It is beautiful. You'll be able, if you really want to, there's a few continents that you can actually go to. Like I know Hogwarts and Narnia you can. And then the other one I said, I forget what the other one I said. I'm basically like channeling the moment, y'all. The other one I said, that one you could go to physically, but there's many that you can't, or that are so beyond the physicality that like there's a mushroom land actually, and it's like if you wanna go there, most people go there when they take a mushroom and they have a good trip or a bad trip. That's because they're in the good. They literally go there and it's like their energy is connected to this core mushroom land, which is like all the mycelium of the planet are like connected to this mushroom land. It's like one of the core places. I think it's so amazing.
This is amazing because I keep on being brought year after year after year, one way or the other, about mycelium and its connection and its importance to why we need or require over here regenerative agriculture, because it's literally breaking the mycelium every time you dig the soil. And that's where this no-dig movement has been growing now. And it's all about preserving that. So these connections between all of this flora can just thrive.
Yeah.
Just thrive because there's so much intelligence there. So on an energetic level, to know that plays out on a larger scale, it just reinforces that knowing for me, quite frankly. It really, really does.
The Antarctic Treaty that's been made, it's not really empowering for people because obviously people feel like they are limited and they can't see for themselves. And we know that you couldn't fly there either, even if you have a private jet or you're trying to cross the ice wall, you probably be taken down anyway. So, and would you say that there is ancient knowledge that's been left for us here?
All wisdom that has ever been on this planet is held within the planet. And so certain souls who are meant to, okay, let me put it in simpler terms. There are people on the planet who have access to this network and were put here to have that access and to bring that back. And so you will notice that there are people spread out across the planet who just know this wisdom or know how to bring it back. They tried to destroy the Library of Alexandria, which was the biggest library. They tried to dig up the ground, like my sis said, in order to remove the networks. They tried everything they could, but the keys are held within the people, especially the Starseeds. And so that keys is held within their soul and designed for them to hold it in their physical avatar too. And so it's like you destroy the library, but it's all just in here for me. And so I can access it. I, meaning you guys, can access it when you know how, when you learn how. And that's always aligning with your soul, getting into 5D. So you hear about all of that, because in awakening, then you get access to that DNA in your soul, stuff that you've always had within your soul that's been left in your DNA. And now that you're awakened, you can access it and you're triggering it and it's getting triggered to activate. So it's all held within the people now. And that was part of the divine plan, which was actually the same thing in galactic history. It was like, let's destroy these planets. Let's destroy the Lyran gateway. Let's destroy all of these things. And then they were still hunting Lyrans forever and ever, because it was always held within them. And if they could destroy their spirit, then they could destroy the information. But those spirits are right back here right now, so they can't get rid of it.
Would you say that the astral mission that we've given to actually achieve a big part of recovering this knowledge?
Mm-hmm. Astral traveling will be how many of you guys get access to this and dive into it. This is actually one of the biggest ways I did it, was astral traveling to these different places. And then when I go back to my physical, I bring that wisdom and knowledge, but I also have it triggered in my DNA. So then it's linked in the physical somehow. So then all of a sudden stuff is getting triggered within my DNA physically, and my body's changing, my mind's changing. Synchronicities around me physically are letting me know, yeah, you're in alignment. This is supposed to happen. And so I always say the reality is stranger than fiction, because it really is. It's like, many of you may notice you astral travel, or you get stuff triggered in your DNA, and maybe you get past life memories. You have an awakening, you get past life memories, then it gets triggered, or all of the above. It could happen in any way, specifically for certain people.
I do resonate with that, because for me, a lot of what people fear outside of themselves, like what they would call ETs, it's like it's like the aha moment is finding out, no, you're the ultimate ET. Like, you are the ET. You are the extraterrestrial. And then once that's realized, I can see how all of these falsehoods won't have any reason to exist, or won't have any place in containing consciousness anymore, or limiting it in that type of way, because the story won't revolve around limitation anymore. It will start to vibrate on a explorative and expansive type of frequency again.
Mm-hmm. I actually want to bring, you guys can tell I'm a fan of Avatar. I love that series so much. And I want to use the example to bring it into to bring perspective to some people, for those of you guys watching. So it's like, imagine you are, so say you're a Pandoran, okay? You're a Na'vi, and then you're coming to Earth. So we're reversing it now. They're coming to Earth. And it's like, you're looking at the planet and you're like, oh, I remember my times being on Earth. I remember these days. And then it's like, okay, well, I got to jump onto Earth now. I can't go in this Na'vi body. Let me put my consciousness in a human body. So let me wait for these people to make this child, right? And then it's organized, and I'm going to jump in that child's body. Then when that baby's born, I'm going to hop right in, and then I'm going to start my journey from there. And when I astral travel, I'm able to hop outside my body and go back home, do what I got to do, but then I got to return back to my vessel because I got my mission there. So it's like, your consciousness, this is for my Starseeds, your consciousness have already done so much of what you see on Earth. Been there, done that. And it's like, but we need your soul. We need this ancient soul here now at this time, because your soul's experience is needed here. We can't just have a random soul in this hybrid body. We need that ET that's been there, done that. And so, yes, human bodies are ETs, and I need all of you guys to know that. But also the souls, we call we call Starseeds hybrids, because they are within this human body, but they are ET souls. So it's like Jake Sully jumping in, and it's like he's got full awareness of his human life, but he's a Na'vi now. But when you go to Earth, you know you're gonna forget a lot. So then you got to remember, and it's like, oh my God, I remember being on this life and then being over there and doing this, because just like in the movie, your consciousness was brought here to do this. And that's why it's extra hard mode, because you can't come and remember everything. You have to come and remember everything.
What's really funny is the fact that we now are going through a phase where some are actually asking themselves if they're Starseeds or not. My perception on that is we all are, anyways, by definition, anyway. So
technically,
technically, exactly. And also, I guess there's the desire for, I guess that's the worship gene that's time to kick in. It's like the desire to be the better, the one that's better off, and the nicer one, and etc. So there's often a reference to, oh wow, I am Lyran, or what looks basically cool and nice. And I think that this is kind of like the distortion that's been put here on Earth, and I think it doesn't necessarily help. However, I think I think by definition, anyway. I mean, you did mention about the fact that some way to just jump in the baby's body, and then just start the journey from there. But although, and then you had a story about you being in a stasis pod and on a ship. Was it on a ship on the planets? I don't quite remember.
It was on a planet.
It was on a planet,
on
yeah.
a facility.
And then you kind of one of part of your reason for experiencing this lifetime is also because the other version of you that was, she's
over there still,
there, which is kind of like not really, I guess, is beyond the veil, but not really. And I guess there's a bit of confusion when it comes to that. I think a lot of us are thinking like, okay, there's the beyond the veil, and there's also,
I would say it's totally outside the Earth experiment or the Earth sphere.
Yeah. I think so.
Exactly. But I think to somebody new to the concept, they want to be able to place things. So it's good that you're saying, okay, this is still on the Earth plane, but it's beyond the ice wall. But this would probably be in realm 2, more galactic, and they'll probably be on interplanetary. So it's really helpful for those who are still trying to map out what this whole concept is for them.
Yeah. And trying, so I was trying my best because, English is not my first language, and I guess it's something I choose this time around to experience as well. But I was trying to grasp the right question in a sense, so that from a human perspective, with all the distortion, people can begin to understand what really took place and what's taking place currently as well. Because obviously, like you say, from an astral perspective, it looks like what you just explained. But from a human perspective as well, you have a mission. And most of the time, what I realize is your physical self here, your mission is kind of just being, not really necessarily doing anything particular, as opposed to being in the astral where you might be a lot more active. Because I realize I'm much more active on the other side.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it wouldn't help to find out what soul lineage you have, but at the same time, if you don't know, what would you advice be if someone would love to know who they connected to? Where could they start?
Now, there's a few things you could do. You could, one, go to someone who has that sight, who could give you more clarity as to your soul heritage. And if you want to kind of find out more on your own, which I definitely recommend as well, is that you really dive into look into the different star heritages and see what kind of triggers something within your heart. What animals as well on the planet, that's a good one. What animals on the planet are you most connected to? Or what idea of beingness are you most connected to? Some may find that they really love like insects and insectoids, and the idea of being an insectoid like really excites them. And it's like, well, you was one, right? And so in looking prospectively at this library planet and looking at what's already here and being like, what am I most drawn to? What really sparks my soul? As well as maybe when I look into other beings out there, what star heritage am I most drawn to? Some people are like, I'm really drawn to Sirius, and I really love the ocean. I really love dolphins. Okay, well, obviously you're a Sirian. Well, what being were you? You will find out over time, but you know that your lineage links to Sirius. And there's many of you who will get, especially after this, like when you get that awakening and you get in alignment with your soul more, you start to get these past life memories. You start to get these understandings because now you're at a level of awareness, it's triggering your DNA and it's triggering soul memory. So in aligning with your higher self and aligning with your soul, which if you want to go down one more, aligning with your heart, which is most connected to your soul and your spirit, that is going to help you in awakening. I had both, where I had people help me and also myself. I always was drawn to felines, and that was always my thing. And I always was called an old ass soul. I just knew I was like, I've always was like, I've been there, done this. I feel like I've done this so many times. And even when I was born, I didn't even cry. My mom was like, you need to start telling the story of when you were born. Like, you didn't even cry. Like, you were just like, as soon as you got out, you were just looking around the room like this. And it's like you've done this so many times. And I was like, Mom, it feels like that every day. Like, it's every day, bro, with this. And so I'm saying that because I want you guys to know it's triggered in your being, you know. And then I remember when someone told me I was a Lyran, I started crying. I didn't even know why. I was like, I don't even know what a Lyran is. And I'm tearing up. And that's when I started exploring more what that whole world was. And then past life memories were coming in so quick, especially with my upgrades, that I was like, I didn't even know. Like, I remember one of my first memories was the Lyran Wars, was being a feline / human, and these big ass like dragon, like draconians coming in and taking over. That was one of the scariest memories, because I'm like, whoa, this is real? Like, it took me a minute to really fathom, because I'm like, this is in my memory, like how a memory from my childhood was in my mind. And so that's what introduced me to this whole world.
It's really really a beautiful way to explain how to get in touch with that aspect of ourselves. And I think it's really important currently now, because people are all going through an awakening. Some they feel something it's not right, but they just can't really, they don't know how to begin. So it was really a great way to explain it. Well, for myself, I did look back on some of the things when I was a kid, things that I liked, things I didn't like. Love water. So as far as the ocean, it really spoke to me a lot. And then I remember as well, one thing is I couldn't eat fish. Any fishes, anything from the sea, I just can't eat it.
I'm allergic to fish too.
And you know what? It wasn't even for me an allergy. I was just kind of almost, when you're a kid, they force you to eat whatever is there, isn't it? And I never used to really like it. And one of the main experiences when I was at school, I had a fish bone stuck in my throat, and no one at the time knew how to, get it removed. So I had to stay 4 hours until I just passed it, and that's it. And since that day, I was like, you know what? No fish. I don't even like it.
Yeah, it's done from there.
And I was done with it. I was done. So I realized and how much I love water and stuff like that. So, and I get a lot of my memories as well. When I put my hand in water, I just get a lot of memories downloaded and stuff like that. But then I realized that definitely something is there for me. And the way you actually explained it is basically, look back, see how you feel in your heart. Things as well for me was from a place as well of not loving something or having to do something. And it's just that my whole body was just like shivering. Like, I can't do this. Like, I just don't like it. Eating the food that I don't like, stuff like that. And it's funny because you've had an experience that was involving me, actually sharing another body experience, and it was about a dolphin communication. And at the time that took place, blue beings, this is what you say, was it blue beings just were over my body because I was sleeping at the time. But I had an experience as well, happened maybe a few hours or was it 24 hours before that as well? So that confirmed it pretty much.
He's busy, put it that way. Like, he's really busy, and sometimes on the other side, if he's got other things to do, he will be like, yo, he'll wake me up. So again, I'm like, okay, what do you want? Like, what's going on? Yeah, at this point, it's bigger eye roll because, like, I'm busy too.
It's a soul contract. It's a soul contract.
It's a soul contract, right? Write down my shit and page 2.
You've agreed. Remember?
I've been trying to dissolve that shit.
Yo, can I just say about the...
She's got all the journal and that.
I love it.
It's the thing, because a blue being was like, I woke up and I was like, it's like he stood over me and I was like, okay, he about to wake me up, but he's trying to figure out how am I going to come in? Like, am I just going to shake her, or am I just going to try and like just say her name? Like, how am I going to do it? So I opened my eyes immediately, and then I realized, okay, that's my soul eyes, because when I turned around, there was a blue being over him, And I was just like, okay, so he's not responding to you. And then as soon as they saw me, they were like, you, right. Tell him this. And I was like, oh, fine.
So my soul woke her up. My soul body, like I woke you up, but then my physical body was asleep. And that's when it took place,
And then I just took down and a blue being came through for him. And I was like, I never connected the dots because at this point I was still like dabbling in the idea of this being even a reality, like a real thing. And you hear about, and all the stories I'd previously been told about people being abducted and all these things, I hadn't ever put myself in the same bag as them because I'd never had an egregious thing happen to me via these beings. So I was like, I guess, but that's not what I'm experiencing. So I don't know what I'm experiencing, but it's not that. So I don't know what this is, but it was that. But then transmissions from dolphin people, and it's like they've got things that they say to him, but then they've got, this is for him, and then this is for the collective, and then this is for you. And if there's anyone else in my life like that they want me to put a message, I'll be like, this part is for that person. I'll be like, okay. So I guess I journal for everybody now.
And you know what?
You're all welcome.
Yeah, but you want to do this. You love it. She loves it. Don't listen to her. She adores it.
I do.
That's the thing. And you know what?
I love how you guys speak about it, how it's like a Tuesday. Because like, yeah, we've been there, done that. We do this. It's just like a regular like Sunday afternoon.
But you know what? About 15 years ago, she must have took me to the psychic, and which is quite a while ago now. And then
it was longer than
and the
that.
psychic started saying it was longer than that.
Yeah, it was before Grace.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she took me to the psychic, and it's only when I connected the dot, and he said, I keep on seeing this being, and I was way before my awakening. I keep on seeing this being, and they painting your neck in blue. They keep on painting your neck in blue. That's what they were showing him. Now I get it. Now I get what this is, and I know now. People are really like asking, like, how do I get in touch with my guides? These beings that I'm attracted to, like these lions or these Andromedans or whatever else. And
that's the thing I would also say to that. And what I've warned people about is don't try and pick what it is.
Yeah.
Based on the stories that you've heard other people say and the ones you like.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Not that. Because if I could pick, it would be like something else other than what I was shown.
Yeah.
You love cats.
I do love cats. I love all of that. Like I love a lot of the beings that I've been shown, but at the same time, I kind of have my eye on some other stuff as well that look cool.
Yeah.
And it's like, they won't reveal themselves to you if you're going to be scared of them. So if you're like, okay, it's not for me, you've already shut down yourself from potential contact with these beings because their whole point is not to put you in fear. But if you're shutting down that which is your very lineage, there will be a time where you're coming up against basically yourself. It's like self-defecation.
Yeah.
So it's like be open to it, all possibilities of what it is, so that the truth of it could come through for you. The truth of the knowing could come through for you.
That was a great way to put it, to be open to everything. You know what? I want to go back a little bit to what you talked about with the fish, because I was always allergic to fish, and it felt like it was weird. I was just like, I don't know why, even the taste of fish, even though I'm not as allergic now to as I was before, the taste of fish and the smell of fish is like, ugh, I can't do it. And I remember saying when I awakened more, I was like, it's like fish is family. Like, I can't eat family. And then that's when I met, for those who know, Dr. Dawn. And I was actually, when I was younger, I was obsessed with mermaids. I love the water. And to know now that Syrians are related to Lyrans, okay? So I was like, it always felt like family. And so then I remember when me and Dawn started first connecting, And I let her know I was allergic to fish, and she's like, "Oh, it's because you're, fish's family." And in my head, I was like, "Yo," I was like, "That makes so much sense." But I was just in the moment, I was just like, "Oh yeah, okay, right." But I'm freaking out in my mind, like, that makes so much sense. And I was obsessed with merfolk, and I'm saying this because I want you to be open to the amount of star family you have. You may you may go to someone and be like, "Oh, you're a draconian, you're this, you're that," but souls are millions of years old. You'll meet souls that have been on Earth most of their life, right? So they barely know anything else. And then they come across a starseed. I like how Omondi said how everybody's a starseed, because every soul, yes, is doesn't just originate from a planet. They may have been on a planet for a long time, but they're not just like original from there, because all souls come from source. But your soul may have experienced as different beings for a long period of time. And there is such thing as old souls and new souls. It's like souls that have freshly branched off of source, and some that have been away, stretched off of source for a long, long time, which is where we get the old soul from. And so we get this whole, people will be like, "Are you an earth-based soul or a starseed?" And it's basically asking, have you been mainly incarnating off planet, or have you been incarnating on planet for a long ass time? And so we get to that new wording. And so when Shem said to be open, that's exactly where I want you guys to be, because many of you will be confused and be like, "Oh, well, I love mermaids and I always mess up mermaids, and I love fairies, but also I love my cats. Greys, I kind of feel a little weird, but that's cool. They're kind of family too." It's because you have connections with all these beings. Please, from now on, consider these beings. Let's rephrase. Know that they are real people. They're not just beings out there and spirits out there that you get to have fun with and just like, "Oh, cool, let's go astral travel, or maybe I'll pray and connect with one." These are real people, real beings that are out there that have a whole civilizations, and you're a young human, or a being, a starseed that's in a young human body that is reconnecting. And so when you're open, like Shem said, you are saying, "I'm willing to learn about who I really am and my family that's out there." It's like realizing you got, if you live in the US, it's like realizing you got family in the UK and you got family in Italy and Hawaii. And it's like, wait, I didn't even realize I had all that family. But if you're sitting there being like, "Oh, it's just America, it's just this," then you're blocking off all of that. So be open to these family strains that are everywhere, and that will allow everything to flow and make more sense to you.
That makes sense.
Beautiful.
A lot of sense.
So because this is a series, I will do what we always do, which I'm going to lovingly end it there, and we will return with Cash. And frankly, you're like an extended part of this whole entire Soul Tribe, for real, because at this point, our soul family vibe with you so much. It's all one in the same. It's that whole overlap. So it's not me, mine, they. It's like ours. It's that. Because they vibe with you, they get you. When you speak about these things, it resonates in people. It activates these memories in people, that inner knowing. It sparks that curiosity that allows them to go and really just say, "You know what? I think I'm going to look into that one." And then when they start peeling back some layers, looking at some stuff, revealing some patterns within their own life, within their own soul journey, it's such a beautiful gift that you give them by sharing your own experiences here. There's a lot of gratitude in the collective for you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for even listening and taking what I say. Everything that I speak is for this whole planet. I can't wait to be there for the entire planet, and to be here for you guys now is exciting, because you guys are the early bloomers. You guys are the ones that is really doing it. And then later on, when it's like driving a electric car and everybody makes fun of you, and then all of a sudden everybody wants an electric car. And it's like, "Oh, I've been a veteran in this. Y'all want to learn something?" It's like that with y'all. So anything you guys need, I will be here for. And it's a pleasure to share my experience and wisdom with y'all.
Vice versa. For those who are new to you, where can they find you? How can they reach out to you if they just want to dive into your stuff, dive into all of your fantastic videos and your content?
You guys can find me on Instagram. I'm King Cash. And in the link, I got everything there. If you guys want to do a one-on-one with me, those are one of my favorite things to do, is to chat with you Starseeds and folks out there. Anything you guys need, I got you. And I'll see you at Instagram.
Wonderful. And with that, we thank everybody. We love you. So ciao.
Ciao.